Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, a place where dreams take flight, with authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives and meaningful conversations, where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV. Download our app, USA Global TV. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. Thanks to our founder and executive producer, Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Music score by Yeffy Tang from Cloud Road Music. Voiceover artist Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. USA Global TV and Radio, your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, where we proudly provide world-class education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. I'm your host today, Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck, and our show is a woman's prerogative. I want to say hello to all of our loyal viewers across the world and also to our dear friends at E360 TV. We're glad to have you with us. In case you haven't heard, we crossed over the official threshold of 100,000 subscribers on our first YouTube channel, which is USA Global TV and Radio, and we couldn't have done it without you. So thank you for all of your likes and your comments and subscribing. We really do appreciate it. And we have a second YouTube channel, which we are going towards 100,000. Of course, on the first one, we're going towards 1 million. So here we go. Stay with us. Our topic tonight is an interesting one. It's things we're most grateful for in this season of life. And of course, I'm not alone. I'm joined by a dear friend. She's actually the star of the show. Her name is Mariska Dupria, and she was in Australia, but she's now in New Zealand. It's actually a day ahead, and she's in a different season than we are here in the U.S. So I always find that to be so interesting. It really reminds me that the world is a very big place. It's small, but it's also very big. Mariska is a wizard when it comes to transformation. She works with leaders. She's got an engineering background, and she's also certified by the ICF as a coach. And she is here today to discuss this topic with me. Welcome, Mariska. Hello, hello. How are you?
Hello. I am very well, thank you. And hello back to everybody that is tuning in for another round. And if you are new to the show, I hope that you enjoy this topic as much as we're going to have fun with it.
Thank you for that. And just for people who are joining for the first time, we don't have a script. I asked Mariska not that long ago to invite her today what topics she wanted to discuss, because I think it's more interesting when both people can be talking about a subject that's important. Because if we come up with some, let's talk about rocket science and I don't know anything about it and you do, or vice versa, it makes it not as much fun. So this is a good topic. And before we get into it, Mariska, I gave a little bit of a background about what you do, but I'd love to have you share with people, especially as we know there are more and more people who are joining from different parts of the world. I happen to look today, we've got a big presence in India, in Vietnam, in Egypt, in the United Kingdom, of course, the United States, and also in Russia. So it's interesting. There are people tuning in from all over the place. So for first timers and for people who are coming back, how can you help people and how do you have them work with you? Is it one-on-one? Is it virtual? How does that work?
So I partner with people stepping in or already within the leadership space. So if you are thinking about stepping into leadership or you are already in leadership and you want to up your game, that would be you. And I basically partner in a number of different ways. One of the main ways in which I do that is within the coaching space. As Dr. Jacqueline mentioned, I am a ICF certified coach. And that basically means that we utilize your knowledge and where you are within your space because you know yourself best. And we see how we can up and level up what you do and how you do it. And potentially there might be things that we do ourselves, and I know I do it a lot, where it doesn't really serve me. And when I re-look at it, I get a different perspective on it. Or I think about how I actually want to do that and think through how that might look in real life for me. That helps me to then show up as a better me. And that's basically what we do within the coaching space. So if you are wondering about how coaching works and whether that is for you, I do have a small little segment on that in our channel. In our Talking Heads section, you will find it there. And of course, I work virtually mostly, some one-on-one in person, if you are, of course, in Australia, close to where I live. But that does not have to be the case. You do not need to look for a plane ticket to come all the way here to come and see me. We can do it virtually. And that is the wonderful thing about having all the technology that we have these days, is we can literally do it from anywhere. And that includes me and Dr. Jacqueline. We have physically never met. We actually had our very first interactions virtually, and we have just kept on doing that because, well, as you know, Dr. Jacqueline's all the way in the US and I'm all the way in Australia. So it works really, really well, and we can still do a lot of wonderful things together, even when there's a big distance. Of course, hopefully you won't be sleeping at the time when I'm awake. So that's the other consideration to take into account.
Absolutely. And it's interesting, Mariska, I know I shared this with you, but I actually have met some of our team members in person, which is really kind of cool because you get an idea of what the person looks like. You think they're this height or this weight or this, and then you meet them in person. It's like, wow, it's not anything like I thought. And I'm sure the same thing with me. So I'm sure you and I will meet in person one day. I'm looking forward to that.
Me too.
So let's dive into our topic today because I think it's a really good one. It's very important. As you know, gratitude is so important. To find gratitude on a regular basis can really change our entire frame of mind. So when you hear the word gratitude, what do you think of?
Well, when I hear the word gratitude, I remember, and this is very odd, way back when, living in South Africa, very early on in my career, I had to walk around on the plant quite a bit. And there was one piece of pavement that we had between one section of the plant and another section of the plant that I used quite often. And I remember seeing ants that sort of pushed the soil out of their little anthill in that specific area, and it made a small little heart. And I remember going through a gratitude practice at that moment and seeing that, and it just stuck in my head. It's like, you know what? I just need this. This is the one thing that I can be grateful for, and this is wonderful. And every time I hear gratitude or gratitude practices, for some odd reason, that image comes back to me. And you would think, oh, well, it's something so small, and yet it has such a big impact. So that's what I think about when I think about gratitude. I have a little picture of ants making a little heart with soil. How about you, Dr. Jacqueline? Ooh.
I could never have imagined that's what you would have shared today. So thank you. That was definitely a good one. I think gratitude to me is so many different things, but my mother used to say this all the time in the last year that, she was alive. And I think I've mentioned this, but they used to annoy me. She would say, I'm just grateful to be here another day. And I would say, Mom, is that all you've got? There's nothing. I mean, it seems like it's so small and minute, but actually it makes perfect sense. And now I realize that too. It's like you're grateful for another day because the mainstream news is always filled with horrific things that have been happening to people. And by the way, are you familiar with Mercury retrograde 333?
I'm not sure about the 333 at the back, but the first piece of it, yes, I'm familiar with that piece. Not the 333. What's that about?
Maybe they don't go together. Maybe I just put them together. I don't know. But basically about the frequencies of the planet changing and then people shifting from 3D into 5D. And so I feel like, because that's been going on now, I think March and April, and then I think it also went on in the last part of last year. And there's so many things that have happened to me that I wasn't expecting. I really didn't want to happen. But when I think of gratitude, I think about the fact that I'm able to handle these decisions and these things that are thrown at me without really a big support system. It's basically me coming through and thinking, okay, what is the solution? So I'm grateful that I've been able to channel my emotions, because I used to be like this and that and this and, high highs, low lows. And now the first thing I say to myself is, what is the solution? What am I supposed to learn from this? How can I get there? And that takes away a lot of that uncertainty. So for that, I'm very grateful.
I absolutely love how you've noticed the way that you look at things changing the type of gratitude that we also have for things. And as you mentioned this, well, the 333, the us being in the 3D a little bit more. I think for me, what's coming up is the small little things that typically I remember. So as you may or may not know, fairly recently, we got a cat. And said cat, of course, like cats do, have hairballs. Now, of course, when you look at all the cute little cat videos out there, typically you don't see the hairball pieces of things. You only see the cuteness pieces of things. And I forgot about hairballs. I had cats before. So I know about hairballs, and I forgot about them. And it's also just a part of being a cat. I mean, what will they do with the hair that they ingest? It needs to go somewhere, right? And unfortunately, their digestive tract does not actually accommodate digesting hair. Neither does ours. So they have to do something with it. Hence, it comes out as a hairball. And just looking at that differently, that experience. So in the past, I got quite annoyed with poor little cat having hairballs because it makes a mess and now I need to clean it up. But this time around, I was sort of like, okay, it's not fun for him, I'm sure. And it's also not a lot of fun for me, but I can be more graceful and grateful for the fact that it is actually coming out. He's not sick. He's having a normal function. And that, to me, also brought back this gratitude in our 3D space, the small little things that we can be grateful for. And looking at them just a little bit differently makes such a big difference. Dr. Jacqueline, I'm also wondering, when you think about gratitude in the grand scheme of things, what comes up for you?
I'm grateful for the life that I've lived. I've done some really cool things. I mean, somebody could look and say, oh, you're 62 and you're alone, but I don't even think of that. I think of how many cool places I've gone, how many amazing experiences I've had. When I met you, I was in corporate, and how I got to retire from there and do what it is that I love, and writing books and teaching courses and continue to expand in this platform. It just makes me so happy. So I feel like, and we've discussed this before, I feel grateful for being able to create something with you and our team members that is a legacy for all of us. I mean, that's really so cool. If you think about it, we come into this earth and then we leave this earth, and maybe we didn't leave any kind of footprint, but we together collectively have definitely made a footprint, a huge footprint, imprint into the world when it comes to what we've created here.
Yeah, we have at least 100,000 people that we have impacted in some small way, shape, or form.
And if you think about it, you think so. The 100,000 is on the one YouTube channel. The other YouTube channel is just about 25,000 because we didn't start it until I think a year ago. But think about E360 TV. They're a distributor of content. We had no idea how many people are watching there, or all the 5 Facebook pages, or LinkedIn, or Instagram. I mean, we have no idea really what the true number is of people who are actually watching, which is amazing. So, you know, you and I don't have any children, not together or separately, but if you think about it, this is our baby. I mean, you've done hundreds of shows. How many shows would you say you've done with all the different shows you've done here?
Oh, wow. I will need to go and tally them up. A good question. I'm sure way over 100. Because me and you've been at this for quite some time. And I remember in the beginning, we did several shows.
We did workout shows. Remember, we had the exercise shows, get off your couch. We did some role play shows. Remember, I was in the gym, you were next to me on the treadmill. I mean, we've done a lot of really cool things. And all we have to do, for example, is go over to the YouTube channel, look at the playlists, and the content is all there. And of course, I have the shows all backed up as well, because you never know what's going to happen in life. But so I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for the fact that I did my research for this life coaching company, Goal Imagery, I think. And I met you as a result of it. And so we were partnering together, doing role plays for the class. And now we've been doing these shows together. I think this is our 4th year. I mean, it's really amazing. So I'm grateful that I took the life coaching class because I got to meet you. And I'm grateful that you helped me come up with a plan to retire from corporate. And here you are today, years later, on the shows. I mean, it's incredible.
Dr. Jacqueline, just looking at what you've accomplished in the short little time that I've known you, I'm grateful for you being on this planet, for being able to meet you and be part of this. And I think for me, that's one of the other things that in the grand scheme of things that I'm grateful for, is being able to meet all the different souls I get to meet in whatever shape or form it is, while I am here in this form at this moment in time. Because one, the internet has broadened how we work together and who we can meet. I have loads of people from all over the world, literally, that I speak to on a weekly basis. And I wouldn't have been able to do any of that if I did not come to this place in this time right now. If we were in 16 whatever, there was no internet. I would have been stuck with whoever was directly around me. Not that I'm saying that I wouldn't have been grateful to meet all of those people too. I would have. And I get to meet so many more people. And you guys watching and listening to the show get to know me and Dr. Jacqueline. And I'm sure Dr. Jacqueline would love to also get to know you guys. So it is just, it's so big. It's so fascinating. Sometimes my brain just goes to think about the amount of influence and impact we might have with something small that we say.
It's amazing. And let's not forget, we've written books together. We wrote a song together with Dr. Chan. And, you know, it's interesting because I did a show today with Roland, and he's a new author now. And I asked him, because when you become an author, there's different reasons why people write. And as I mentioned, I have a new book coming in where I'm really going to highlight the people on this channel who've really made a difference and helped us grow to where we are. And it's kind of like, I don't write books to get rich. I don't write books so I can apply for awards, because, you can apply for awards on, have this and this and this on your book. And if you have a publisher, there's different kinds of awards as opposed to Amazon. But I really write because I feel like I have something to say, and I want to give it as a leave behind to people. So if people are hiring me for their course, like I have this book with me. So I've been teaching setting boundaries and asking permission. And I sign the books and I give them to people because I'm getting paid. And I figure, why not give the book? But other people, for example, they want to get rich and famous or be on the bestseller list for the New York Times. And I don't know what it is outside of this country. So the fact that we got to work together to write books, and you were in New Zealand at the time, and I was here, and Madeline is in the United Kingdom, and then we wrote a song. I don't think the books are flying off the shelves because there's not a lot of publicity to it. But for the people who have bought it or read it, they know of us. We don't know of them, but they know of us because they've read the books, and that's kind of cool.
It is. It is. And if you haven't heard Listening Lazies, if you want a bit of an earworm, it has a tendency to have the potential to do that. And it's a fun little song that you can sing along to and you can enjoy with your kids or just by yourself in the car on your way to work. Why not? And yes, Dr. Jacqueline, that's the thing. That's things that I am grateful for, being able to work with you and Dr. Chan to create these things that, on my own, write a song. I have no idea how to do that. Maybe a poem if I'm lucky and my brain feels inspired at that stage. But songs, it's not my forte. I really enjoy music, but I can't write any. I can almost play guitar, almost, maybe one or two songs, and that's about it. That's my extent of musical capacity at the moment, because I haven't really put that much effort into it. Although, Dr. Chan, now if you want some musical inspiration and expertise, she can really, really help you with that, as well as you, Dr. Jacqueline, because I know you play the piano as far as I remember, and I know you sing. So there's lots of talent on the show.
It's funny because my nails are so long now that I can't really play the piano because they make this clicking noise, click, 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 click. So it's hard to even type. When I went to get my nails done, the guy who does them, he's like, really, we need to cut these things back. And I'm like, no, I'm keeping them. They're a little long now. But Dr. Chan can definitely help people with music lessons, voice lessons, and even breathing lessons. A lot of being grateful, I think, means taking a few seconds. Philip Sykes talks about the 6-second rules to just pause. But I think it has to do also with getting our emotions in check. And if you've ever known anyone who is highly volatile, highly emotional, it's difficult to have, what's the word I'm going to use? I don't want to use the word that just came in my head, to have productive conversations with, because that emotion always gets in the way. And then I think that emotion can prevent people from realizing there's always something to be grateful for, because that old expression, if we threw all of our problems in the middle, would we want to, leave with ours or with somebody else's? And we typically want to leave with ours.
Yeah. And thinking about it in that way, for me, being able to be grateful already, it sort of opens other doors. It just gives you a glimpse of other potential, other possibilities that you can step into. And it gives you choice. We always have a choice. Even if we think we are not going to choose anything, technically you're choosing something. You are choosing not to choose. So we always have a choice. And for me, gratitude really gives us more generative choice, where when we just put out all our problems in the middle, as you mentioned, Dr. Jacqueline, yes, one, I would rather sit with my own than somebody else's. And if I only look at the problems, my choices feel very limited. It's sort of like having blinders on. But when I'm grateful, even if it's for something small, if I can come up with 5 things that I'm grateful for, the first 3 typically really easy. The second or the next 2, that's where the trick comes in. And that helps our brain rewire itself so that we can step more into that gratitude space. And as soon as we do that, we have these little creaks of the doors opening and new light shining. And then you go, oh, but I can always do this or that or the next thing. And there's choice. And with choice comes a different way of living and being and potentially creating something else, something different, something more. Like you are doing, Dr. Jacqueline. As I said before the show, it always feels like when I'm with you, there's a rocket somewhere hidden. I don't know where you're hiding.
I don't see anybody.
Definitely a rocket somewhere, because it's just like, shh, and we're off.
You know, I think part of the reason, and thank you for that, I feel like part of the reason is because I am single and I am alone. You know, I took care of my mom for almost 4 years. That what is my purpose in life? So, for example, I have this event coming up, and the woman said, it's for authors. And the woman said, you know, I know you own a television network, but don't have anything having to do with that at this event, because you haven't written a book about the television network. So, because I have mugs, I've got all kinds of things that I want to bring. So I thought to myself, well, guess what? I will write a book. I will write a book, and it will be a good book. But what I decided was I'm not going to have a hard launch. So in other words, the event's actually next month. I'm working with Red, and I'm getting bios from you and some of our team members. And then I've had some charts that I'm putting in about our growth and whatnot. So what I'll do is I'll have what's called a soft launch, so that there's no publicity about it, because you're really supposed to start marketing your book, 6 months to a year. And then I'll order the books, like they'll be available on Amazon, but who's going to know it? And then I'll order the books that I need for the event, and then I'll start marketing it and have the official launch later in the year. But I thought that was a good challenge. She's like, well, you don't have it. I'm like, well, not yet, but I will. So, but if you think about it, if I had a husband and children and pets and whatever, I might not have that flexibility. So I feel like that makes a difference. And something else I just wanted to mention, I'd love your thoughts on this. There are some things in life that really annoy me when I'm thinking about gratitude, right? And I'm going to give a couple of examples, and then how I am able to turn it around. So I was in an elevator, and the elevator was packed. I got on after everybody was on, and the smell of marijuana, I mean, it was like someone was actually smoking it in the elevator, but they weren't. And I was thinking, oh, it's going to be all over my clothes and in my hair. And I said to myself, you know what? Maybe they have an illness. Maybe it's medical marijuana. Maybe it's this, maybe it's that. Just stop breathing until you get to your floor, hold your breath, and then get out. So that's one example. Another example is I go to this place to work out, which I'm not going to say where, but it's very dark. And there's a lot of loud music. And there are a couple of people, there's so many people who take the class, but there are a couple of people that even though it's dark, I know it's them. And they, instead of breathing, they make these loud moaning noises. They go, oh, it's so hard. And this person was 2 machines away from me. And I thought, why don't you just shut up? Why don't you shut up and focus on the exercise? And I thought, why am I getting upset about this? I have the ability to tune this person out. Just focus on what I'm doing, because I have been a certified personal trainer. I have taught fitness classes, and making those noises means that you're not breathing properly. So maybe this person doesn't know how to breathe properly. So instead of distracting, going over here, just focus on what I'm doing and mind my own business. And I'm grateful for that.
It reminds me of something that I've noticed about myself too, is when I get frustrated, the place to go isn't the frustration so much as the think about what exactly is it that is frustrating me, and what can I learn from that? So as you mentioned about the person moaning on their bike, I would have gone, okay, so I know that if that's what happens, that person might not be breathing correctly. What's happening with my breath? Right? Just noticing it. It's like, oh, thank you. You actually reminded me to breathe. This is good. And then just remembering to breathe and focusing on my own breath and what's happening with me. And within my space, I've found that makes such a big difference, because then, even though it was an annoyance to start off with, or I got frustrated with whatever the thing was, I can then go and change the behavior or the focus that I have within that space. And it makes me feel better. And guess what? When I feel better, the world is better. And when the world is better, there's more things to be grateful for. And then everything's sorted out.
So true. That was a beautiful explanation. Thank you. And I think you and I both know as coaches, when you have a client, for example, and they're having a complete meltdown, you know, it's hard as a human to watch another human have a meltdown. But in a coaching scenario, it's different, because we're giving them a place to air what they have to say, and then we want to give them some tools. But what happens, I think, so often is in the real world, when it's not a coaching session or therapy session, one person is really upset about something, and then the other person starts to feed off of it. And then it's like a fire, a flame that keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And so I'm grateful that you and I have the skills, because we've taken the time to get the education and the experience to be able to recognize that. And think about how many people are out there, if they were able to recognize that someone was coming unhinged, for example, or they just were so emotionally volatile, that if you are almost a wall, that everything is just going to come off of you, as opposed to being an instigator or helping that situation get escalated. We know what not to do and what to do. So I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for the tools that we have, so that we can work on ourselves, which ultimately gives us a sense of empowerment and also a sense of peace. What do you think?
I absolutely agree. And the fact that I'm able to work with that, and I think it's not something that what I have found is people typically think, oh yeah, but it comes naturally. I've got a secret for you guys. It's not natural. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of work. We need to constantly work on it. I had exactly the same problem that you had, Dr. Jacqueline, with emotional going, either that or just being so flat that it was almost like working with a robot. Either one of them doesn't really work, because we're not dealing with the things that we need to deal with properly. And understanding what's going on for ourselves, doing a little bit of self-reflection and understanding why we act certain ways, and actually going, you know what, okay, so this might be a pattern for me and it's not serving me. How can I change it? And I'm grateful for the training that we went through to discover for ourselves how to change it, and then also to help others within that process and giving them the space in order to change it for themselves. Because no, I cannot change it for you. You are the only one who can change it for you. And I can help to create space where it is safe for you to experiment with how you might want to change it and how it might look like. And even sometimes just seeing it, because that I have found is my biggest problem, is sometimes I don't see it. Everybody else does, but I don't, because it's a blind spot for me. And that sort of sucks. So Dr. Jacqueline, I'm wondering, me being grateful for feedback is another thing that I think comes up in the gratitude space, and understanding how to ask for that. When you think about that element of things. What's coming up for you?
Well, something that just popped into my mind in reference to that, it's a different kind of feedback, but on Thursday, I did some shows in the morning and then I looked down at my legs and they looked all swollen. I mean, not like normally swollen. And I thought, I am going to the emergency room, which is not a place that I would be going. That is the last place I would be going. So I drove myself to the emergency room and I was almost in a state of desperation to have someone see me and give me some kind of diagnosis because I thought this is not normal. And I know it could be related to your heart or your brain or any of these things. Like for me to drive there, it was like unheard of. I had to get somebody to cover for the rest of the day. I packed a bag in case they were going to check me in. So end of the story, they ran all of these tests and I was just grateful that I got the service was so great. I couldn't get into a room. So they had me on a gurney in the hallway. And I thought, you know what, I'm just grateful that they brought me in from the waiting room and that they're doing these tests and they did them so fast. And then I got an email with the test results. So there must have been 8 different tests. And maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes after each test, I got an email. And I was so grateful because of the fact that I don't get myself all worked up. You know, I don't know how they have it there. But when you get a test, they have like green, yellow, or red. And if your number is supposed to be in the green, you have the same thing?
More or less, yes.
Okay. So there were some that were not too good. But I said to myself, and this is what I'm bringing in the feedback, I'm not a medical doctor. And even though I can go on Google and look up everything, like if your score for this is this, and it could be, and it's like horrifying things, but it's taking one thing out of a big picture. So I had 2 doctors come and visit with me, and they gave me the information. They said, you know, we thought it could be this, this, and this, but we don't think it's any of those things. We think it's going to go away, which it has, which is amazing. But I was so grateful for the feedback. And I was so grateful that I got to walk out of that hospital. When I went there, I was so desperate for someone to see me and give me some kind of, you know, news. And then when I got the news, I was like, let me get the, you know what, out of here. And when I went to my car and I looked up at the hospital and I thought, how many rooms are there? How many people are in there? And they are not walking out of here. And it was one of the, I can't explain it because it was all in one day in like 7 hours, you know, to be like, oh my gosh, I need someone to help me. And then I can't wait to get out of here. And I'm so grateful that I'm out of here. I took myself out to dinner because I was so like, I thought, you know what, I'm celebrating because I am going home. So I got the feedback. And at the same time, I was able to take that information. You know, when I shared with some other people, they were kind of like, well, did you grill them about this? And grill? I'm like, grill? I'm getting out. Like, no, I'm not grilling. So I'm going to be staying longer and they're going to check me in. And who knows, you know, because I don't know what this hospital system is like over there. But here you could be checked in and you could be sitting there with all the bells and the dings and all the noise and maybe patient in the next room screaming. And I mean, I've with my mom, I've heard and seen it all. It's not a nice place to try to get some rest.
No. And I think what's coming up for me within that space is I would also be very grateful to just
get out.
But you know what? I have 2 very capable people that studied, this is their job. And they told me that I'm fine. And It will go away. And I'm fine. And it will go away. Good. Yes.
Yes.
I'm not going to.
It's very true. And another thing I just want to bring up, I know we're running out of time, but since I moved to New Jersey from Florida, you know, there's been a number of things that have gone wrong. There was no heat for 2 months, no toilets for 2 weeks. The apartment was flooded. I had to live in a hotel for 3 weeks. And I've had numerous people, I was going to say so many people, numerous people say to me, well, do you think you made a mistake by leaving Florida? And you know what? I don't think so. I think everything has happened for a reason. And I think I'm a much stronger person than I would have been because I didn't cause the flood, but how I reacted when the flood was caused. And of course, I ended up getting a major ulcerative colitis flare, but that's okay because I've willed myself to get better without any medicine or anything else. So my point is that I'm grateful that these opportunities have come into my life and I was able to deal with it instead of having a meltdown. I still have been productive even when I've been ill. So I'm grateful for my inner strength. I'm grateful for watching my mother. She was playing competitive tennis until she was 80. And my father, he had so many things wrong with him, and how he made the money that he made, I don't know. And I'm just grateful that I had them as parents and that I've learned a number of things from them that, I don't know how long any of us are going to be here, but I'm just going to enjoy every day and be grateful for this moment with you.
See, and now coming back to what your mom said, I'm just grateful to be alive.
Yes.
So good. I mean, there's air in my lungs.
Yes.
Everything's moving. Yeah, sometimes there's aches and pains and some of it's crappy. And I'm here to actually experience it. So that's good. That's good.
It's so good. It's so, I just want to say something about the air in your lungs, because my dad had something called bronchiectasis. He had like mold in his lungs, and just to breathe was a struggle. When you watch someone trying to breathe, and it's horrific. So that in and of itself is a major gift, just being able to breathe, to be able to see, to be able to walk, to smell, to hear. These are all incredible gifts for us to be able to be together when we are literally across the world apart is amazing. And to have fun and enjoy each other's company. We hope the people out there are enjoying it, but we're enjoying it. So
I love it. I am grateful for this moment. I'm grateful for whoever tuned in today, live or on the replay. If you did, I hope that you have as much fun as we have. And remember about all the things that you are grateful for, as we remembered all the things that we are grateful for. I'm going to have a fabulous rest of my day, by the way.
You have a fabulous rest of your day. I'm going to finish my taxes, so I have a fabulous evening, but I've really enjoyed this topic. So thank you. And, sometimes because we've been doing this show for years, right? I don't even know how many years we've been doing this show. We've had different people come and go, but we've had some really heavy topics too. And sometimes I think topics like this, where you can actually have a feel-good moment and have a few laughs, I think that's important. I mean, I think it's important to have the deep conversations about things that need to be discussed. But just a quick example, I think I told you I did a show with a couple of women from South Africa on human trafficking. And by the end of the show, I had a splitting headache, because that's like a tough topic to deal with. And then this was last week, I think, the local government there contacted these two women and said we had to shut the show down, take it down off all the platforms, which is impossible, because the cartel could see our faces, or the mob, or whomever. And I thought, what? That's a heavy subject. I'm trying to take everything down, but it's nice to have topics like this where we can smile and laugh and then take it into the rest of our day or night.
I agree. I mean, heavy topics, by all means, they need to be discussed so that they aren't monsters under the bed, and we can actually drag them into the light to see what they are all about. So yes, we need to discuss them, and we also need to have things that we can be grateful for and laugh about and enjoy in life. Because, I mean, I don't know about you, Dr. Jacqueline, but if I had a day where I couldn't have something to smile or laugh about, that would be so dreary.
But to your point earlier, it takes an effort. It takes an effort. And I applaud you for taking that effort. I sometimes, and I've said this before, if I get down about something, I'll give myself 10 minutes for the pity party. You know what? You want to cry? You want this? You got 10 minutes. Then it's suck it up. That's what I say to myself. Suck it up, buttercup, move on, and let's just focus on being productive. So, but we are over our time. So thank you for E360 for keeping us on. What is the best way for people to contact you while I bring up your website?
So you can contact me either via my email address, which is at the bottom there, It's mariska@journey2discover.com. Or alternatively, you can also find me on LinkedIn. So on LinkedIn, I'm Mariska de Prier. And there's, of course, also, thank you, Dr. Jacqueline, my website. So on my website, there's also a form that you can fill in, and then you can make contact that way. And as I mentioned, via LinkedIn, you can send me a direct message. And they fixed my surname, which I'm so happy about. So I'm Mariska de Prier, the whole thing. And you can start conversation that way. So there's a couple of different ways that you can reach out. If you are within the leadership space and you want to up your game, do make contact and we can start our conversation.
Thank you so much. And I do want to say thank you to the viewers, because our show, Superwoman, Can We Really Have It All? That was in the top 10 from last week. And then the one about self-care, I forget what that one was, but that was also in the top 10. And we've had a couple of others. So we're on a roll here. So thank you. Please keep watching, keep liking, keep subscribing, tell other people about it, ring the bell so you know about all the shows that we have. And we will say adieu for now. And again, thank you for watching. And thank you, E360 TV. Thank you, Mariska. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. We're going to go over to our sponsors. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Have you ever felt unheard? Like your words float into a void, leaving you invisible and disconnected? How about feeling judged, when assumptions overshadow your truth, leaving you misunderstood and defensive? And then there's that moment when someone offers solutions you never asked for, dismissing your feelings and leaving you more frustrated than before. It doesn't have to be this way. Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck, the listening mentor, understands. She's here to help you reclaim your voice, build stronger connections, and create meaningful conversations that inspire understanding and mutual respect. Through her groundbreaking books, online and in-person courses, and interactive workshops, you'll learn how to navigate life's most challenging interactions. Discover the power of elevated listening and transform how you communicate. Master setting boundaries and asking permission to protect your peace. Learn to recognize and release judgment, fostering empathy and true connection. Dr. Kerbeck also offers personalized coaching, one-on-one or group sessions, designed to fit your unique needs. Whether in person or virtually on StreamYard, her guidance will empower you to thrive. You don't have to struggle alone. The path to deeper connections and better relationships start here. Visit drjacqueline.com or usaglobaltv.com. Join a global community of empowered listeners and transform your life, one meaningful conversation at a time. Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck is the listening mentor. Start your journey today.
USA Global TV and Radio proudly presents Steve Klein Art at steveklein.art.
My name is Steve Klein, born Manchester, England, 1953. My quest in my lifetime is to create artwork from my soul and the deepness within my wildest dreams and fantasies. In 2012, my heart stopped when I was given too much anesthetic for a minor knee operation, and this near-death experience took me to another multidimensional world, an out-of-body experience, and I was given the gift of being blessed by an overwhelming, burning passion to become, for the very first time in my life, an artist with an eternal, passionate desire to bring my art, which I've named multidimensional, subliminal, freeform art, to the world, as only 3% recover from what I experienced, and now in my golden years want to release my cosmic, vital energy through my art to allow people to be a part of my cosmic dance.
To learn more, email roccogoodwine@gmail.com. For VIP pricing, mention USA Global TV and Radio.
Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honoured to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/usaglobaltv. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives, one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Music by Johnny Dyes. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative Direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Copyright 2025. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.